What's up, Leafs fans? Welcome back to another Leafs Nation After Dark. I'm Zack Phillips, and tonight we're going to be breaking down game number 45 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season as they drop an ugly one here tonight to the Dallas Stars. Well, what turned into an ugly one from a fan perspective, from an attendance perspective, from a booing perspective. We'll talk about all of that here tonight. What went wrong for this Maple Leafs team? Why Leafs fans were in a brutal mood at the end of that game here tonight. And I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you think. Normally, I read the chat here on the show. I go through everything you guys are talking about. I answer questions. And I'll continue to do that throughout the course of the show here tonight. But I want you to call into the show. I want your thoughts. I want your takes. I want your opinions. No take is too hot. No trade is too spicy or too aggressive. No feelings towards the power play are unjustified. I want to know all of it. All of it. So you guys, send me a DM on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever it may be. However you want to reach out. You send a message. I will send you a link. You call into the show here tonight. No cameras. Just call into the show. And we will get you guys in on tonight's show. You give your thoughts, you can ask your questions, whatever it may be, however you're feeling. I want to know it, and I want to know why. Send your messages there, whether it's my Twitter, if it's Leafs Nation Twitter, however you send a message, I'll get you the link. We'll get into all of that here tonight on the show and a whole lot more. But before we do, you guys know it. This is a presentation of Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation After Dark. Open an account with Bet365 today. Bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, NATION. That's code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. So, Leafs lose this one 4-1 to the Dallas Stars here tonight. They move to 27-16-2. And it's not the prettiest night outside of effectively the first period. It felt like after that, the Dallas Stars figured things out. They got themselves on the right track, and they were able to effectively kind of do whatever they want in this game, for lack of a better term. They pretty much kind of just turned this thing on its head. They brought the pressure. They brought intensity throughout the rest of the way. They took away options that the Leafs had in the first period, and from that point on, it just became anything and everything the Dallas Stars would like to do, and this thing essentially went downhill. Like, it went downhill for the Maple Leafs here after that point. And it's a frustrating loss because you were expecting an answer. You got it in the first period, and then it kind of felt like after the first period, they said, well, you got it. There was your answer. There was your response, and then see you later. As 6 1/3 points out, we scored within the first 5 minutes and packed it in. And I feel the same sentiment here. Like, that is effectively how I felt about this game tonight. It was, come out, we're ready to go, we're on home ice, we're playing the Dallas Stars, let's go, 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 go. And then right after that, they just said, we did enough. We showed who we were. We showed that we can push back. And okay, we'll see you later. We'll see you on Thursday against the Devils. Maybe. We'll see you against Sheldon Keefe. Maybe. Because from that point on, it was checked out. And I think one of the topics that will likely be discussed here tonight, when we take some callers here, I've already got a couple people reaching out. If you guys want to, make sure you reach out as well, whether it's, again, on Twitter, at ZackPhil, or on Instagram. I don't even remember what my Instagram name is, honestly. That's real good. At ZackPhillips_. You guys send me a message. I'll get you a link to call into the show here tonight. And I want to know what you're thinking, how you're feeling, where things are at. We'll get people on the show to talk about this one because it's not just me anymore. I'm reading the chat. I'm reading what people are thinking online, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating with another loss here. And another story, which I know, and if he wants to call in, he's more than welcome to. Vic is experiencing frustrations with. Some of you in the chat were experiencing some frustrations with. To kick off the show here tonight is Joseph Woll. Now, I don't think this is a blame Joseph Woll game, but the goal that was scored by Logan Stankoven, and I think it was to make it 2-1 in the second period there, to tie it 1-1 in the first period, just cannot happen. You're up 1-0, and I mean, I don't want to be too harsh on the guy because he's been unbelievable for pretty much this whole year here now at this point. He's had a couple of bad games, but when the goaltending has been as good as it has been, and it's been to the point where they're kind of bailing you out in some games, it's hard to like flip on them and say, hey, what the hell were you doing that night in that game, etc. But that goal by Logan Stankoven is a stinker. It just cannot happen. It comes at a bad time. He finishes with an .826 save percentage here tonight. And the goal that I'm talking about is not the one that hits him and goes in. There were other issues that occurred on that play. The goal that I'm talking about that just can't happen comes 8:33 into the period, 4 minutes after the Leafs had gone up 1-0. The building was excited. Austin Matthews scores a goal. Steven Lorentz, rah, +1 on that first line. Things are looking positive for the boys. And then they shut it down after that goal went in. Well, Joseph Woll did on that goal as well. The shot comes. Logan Stankoven drives the net. Joseph Woll gives up a rebound he shouldn't be giving up, right back out into the slot. Stankoven smacks at the thing, and it somehow ends up popping up and over Joseph Woll's pads. Stankoven then goes to the other side and gets it. Say whatever you want about defense should box out or whatever. Joseph Woll has to have that. He's got to be making that initial save and not popping that rebound back out. And then he's got to be not a statue after the fact. Like, he's got to be ready to go and not be allowing that second one to go past him the way that it did. That's got to be a lot tidier, and it was real unfortunate, honestly, at that point, because then that ties the game. Dallas is right back in it, and then the Leafs basically had nothing from that point on. Again, another word to use here tonight, but frustrating. Also, another thing. Obviously, we're going to take calls here on the show. And I want to know what you guys are thinking, how you guys are feeling about everything that's going on with this team, with this game. I think there's a lot. Like, honestly, part of it here is I'm at the point with, like, the power play where what am I going to say here again? It's another storyline, but what am I going to say? So give me a fresh perspective. I want to hear what you guys are thinking. You call into the show, but on top of that, as always, we do have super chats, and this year we have a really cool initiative, and that would be the Sick Kids Super Chat. The Sick Kids charity sponsor on our super chat. So proceeds from our super chat go to Sick Kids. You guys send in your super chats. We read out all of them here on the show. You want to make your question or comment, get on the show. Make sure you hit us with the super chat. Proceeds from our super chat go to Sick Kids, Canada's first children's hospital and a top research intensive children's hospital in Canada and third in the world. Make sure to send those in here as we just got our first one of the night. So let's hop on over to that right away. Thank you, Tammy. Okay, Tammy with the first super chat of the night. Thank you, Tammy, for the super chat. Greatly appreciated it. It's a big one. Oh boy. Tammy says, the Buds gave us a masterclass on why you don't stick Twiddledee and Twiddledum together on the same line for umpteenth time. I'm going to assume he's talking about Marner and Matthews here. Berube needs to get a new blender because he is starting to lose me with his questionable choices. Tammy, thank you for the super chat. And again, this is where I want to go, where I want to hear what other people have to say here tonight, because I feel like I'm going to start to get to a broken record and people might want to jump through the screen and choke me out with some of the thoughts on this. But like this game, watching this team and feeling like we are watching, you know, Keefe's Leafs of old, a team that we thought was gone, leads me to question some bigger picture things. Let's just take a stroll down, you know, memory lane here. Mike Babcock is here. We're frustrated because it's too structured, right? It's too frigid. He's playing Marlowe, you know, more minutes than Matthews and Marner and Knight. And I agree that some of that stuff is infuriating. You're in the playoffs and you've got older guys out there. You're not letting the kids play late game. It's the like we're pushing. We need goals, and you've got the wrong guys out there. Sheldon Keefe comes in. Here we go. We've got a guy who's shaking things up, making things happen. We're willing to make changes, try things, experiment, whatever. We're willing to do something different, something out of the ordinary. And then we watch that over and over and over again. And then we go, okay, well, all these combinations don't seem to work. Well, now it's Sheldon Keefe's fault because he changes it too much. And then it's this coach, and then it's this GM, and then. The one constant through the coaching change, the GM change, the power play coaching change, the one constant has been that Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, and Riley have all been here through all of it. We can sit here and call for Mark Savard's job. We can sit here and complain about every single thing that goes on with power play and personnel and timeouts, and I will do that here tonight because a lot of it that I watched was mind-boggling. But every year, run it back, run it back, run it back. So when we watch some of these things that we've seen year in and year out, maybe a Tiger can't change its stripes. Maybe it's the guys on the ice that are causing these things to happen. Because some of the stuff is just ridiculous and frankly unacceptable. To have the power play operating the way that it has, and it's been the same guys, and it's fallen apart in the playoffs year after year after year, and it's fallen apart at the ends of seasons, and it falls apart when the going gets tough and the game shrinks and time and space is taken away from you, we can continue to blame the power play, which I will here tonight because let's call it what it is. Mark Savard running this power play. This is the worst it's probably ever been, which is kind of outrageous to say considering the points that we've been at where we've watched it be as frustrating as it has been and as stale as it has been and just as out to lunch as it has been. But the guys on that power play, they might be guilty here as well. And so Tammy bringing up that point there with that super chat yet again. Thank you, Tammy, for the super chat. Berube needs to get a new blender because he's starting to lose me with these questionable choices. I'm starting to wonder if it's his fault at all. If we were just too hard on Keefe in some of the areas. Yeah, it was probably time for a change just because he needed a different voice regardless. But to watch the same guys go and have to be flipped into these blenders and having to watch Steven Lorentz go to try and spark Matthews and Marner and having to watch them flip through McMahon on that line and Domi on that line to go in and out and rotating because you need to get 34 and 16 going. You need to get that line going. Do you know how much fucking money that those guys make? In what world should the guy on their wing making entry-level contract, $1 million, PTO players, be the guys who are trying to get something going there? I know Matthew Knies was slumping. But Matthew Knies is not the reason that line was free-falling. There's something that might just be fundamentally wrong with the core of this group. And I know that we're getting comments here. L Hacker saying there as well, they're first, Zack. Calm down. Relax. They were also first the year that they lost to the Montreal Canadiens in the first round. And the entire way through, there were things that we could have poked and prodded at and said, there's a flaw, there's a flaw, there's a flaw. But we kind of just let them fester and let them go and said, okay, it's fine. This is just deja vu. I've seen this song and dance before. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but like 6 times. finish near the top. Oh, we got a favorable matchup or whatever it may be. Oh, we don't have to worry because we did so well in the regular season. Well, the regular season has proven for this team to mean absolutely fuck all. So at this point, I don't care about being at the top of the standings. I want to watch how they play. They could squeak into the playoffs, but play the right way, like they were at the beginning, when it was tight hockey, when the defense was unbelievable, when their goaltending was out of its mind, when the penalty kill, which the penalty kill had a bad night here tonight. Let's just call it what it is. I'm not panicked about the penalty kill long term. I think the penalty kill will be okay. They've been unbelievable. You had a bad night. Whatever. That's like the one saving grace here for me with special teams that's gone on is the penalty kill, and Lane Lambert has been exceptional. Like exceptional. But if you watch this team over like the last 15 to 20 games, which is something that Leafs fans honestly have had a very hard time grasping here over the last little while, is that the way that they've been playing has actually been kind of shit. They've not been playing good hockey for a while. And yet we kind of got lucky with some of the wins. And that's great because you do need to get lucky with wins. You do need to win games you don't deserve to. And that's nice. But as Rosie and I had said, as Vic and I had said, as Nick and I had said, as everyone who's come through this show is nice. It's great you won this game. But don't let this become a pattern. Don't let this become consistent. Don't let this play carry on past this win streak that we're on. Don't let this play become who you are and the identity of this group. And right now, they're letting it seep into their game on a nightly basis. There's spurts of this good Berube hockey, and then there is just falling off a cliff. We are who we were previously, kind of nonsense. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable right now. You can't be letting yourselves get to this position when you're going to consider yourself a cup contender. DizK first in the division with 56 points is a complete luxury. In any other division, they're third. Fair enough. And also, by the way, Tampa climbing behind you. They're probably going to lose here tonight. I don't know what the score is currently sitting at, but Tampa 6-2, so they're going to lose that one. But they were climbing behind you. Top skull. If Berube isn't sending Reeves to punch out Benn after that shot at AM34, why is he even in the lineup? Right. I mean, I guess you do have to have a willing combatant, but my God, some of these things are head-scratching, really. We've got another super chat here. All right. Crazy we're going to... Here's the super chat charity partner for children to this super chat, but nonetheless, I appreciate it. Maxentius Decimus, our power play couldn't even score on a hooker. You know what's nuts? Is that, which, again, I would rather let some of you guys do power play discussion if you want to, because if you want to call in, because I don't know, like I'm banging my head against the wall at this point, having done this night in and night out. The power play has been atrocious. And at one point there, with 11 minutes left in the third period, they can't get set up in the offensive zone. You're trailing by 3 goals. You're looking for any sign of life, like any sign of life, and can't get in the zone, can't get things set up. The camera flashes to Berube and Savard, and they're both shaking their heads on the bench. Like, even they are at a point of just not understanding. I am almost at a lack of words with some of the stuff. I mean, I saw a meme before I came on here. And it was pretty hilarious, actually. I got to see if I could find this on my phone here right now. But it was like, you are at this point of the season. And it was basically, Leafs start out slow, hot November, whatever. January lull. They kick things back up and they go absolutely nuts. And everyone jumps back on and says, this team is different. This team can do it. And then the crash happens. And it happens in the first round of the playoffs. Are you going to tell me it doesn't feel like we're watching Groundhog Day with this group here yet again? Like, are you going to actually try to tell me that we aren't watching the exact same fucking team that we've been watching year in and year out? I had the Tampa-Boston game on another screen here tonight. I also had the Flyers and the Columbus game on another screen. I'm watching this Leafs team get their shit kicked by Dallas tonight, and there's no pushback. There's no fights. There's no scrums. There's no engagement. There's nobody going out there trying to lay anybody out or finishing every single check, other than, like a couple guys, your usual suspects on this Leafs team. You know what? Actually, we got to do this. One of the most pathetic fucking things I saw here tonight was Max Domi gets lit up by Matt Dumba. Don't get me wrong, it's a clean hit. No issue with Matt Dumba, what he did there, or the results of that play. It's a clean hit. Watch the video again. I implore you to go and watch the video again. Because there's a player who watches the hit happen as he's skating to the bench to change. He looks at the hit take place. He looks at Domi laying on the ground. He looks at the guy standing there, looks, goes right to the bench. Last night, Connor McDavid gets in a scrum, an altercation with Alex Laferriere on the LA Kings. Gets in this altercation, Kapanen comes over the boards, grabs him, they're wrestling. The first person to get back involved in that scrum is Connor fucking McDavid. Do you see McDavid or Draisaitl scared of these scrums and getting in these altercations? Do you see McKinnon or Rantanen or Landeskog when he's healthy afraid of these altercations? Tell me, Mark Stone, Jack Eichel, do you see those guys running away from altercations? Matthew Tkachuk? The best players on the other team seem to have a set of balls on them to be able to go and engage in those interactions. And I get it's game 45 of the season. And no, I don't want Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews throwing hands and going nuts out there. But are you fucking kidding me? You can't just check in with the guy and give him a little jab? It's the most cowardly shit all the time with these guys, over and over and over again, that we have to watch. And it's year in and year out. And you see a little moments of it where you start to believe something might be different. Something might have changed. But these guys, the most that they can do at this point is just give a dirty look. Like, I'm watching Tampa and Boston. And regardless of if you think it's clean or should be happening or whatever, I'm watching these guys and I'm watching these games, and it's like, Konechny finishes a clean hit, Olivier grabs him, and they're going to go. Watch the Tampa game. A guy got cross-checked. Kastelik gets cross-checked by Lilleberg on Tampa a week ago. 1 week ago. And you know who goes out there and says, let's deal with this? Trent Frederick. He goes up to Lilleberg and he says, you cross-checked the guy a week ago, you're going to fucking deal with it. And the two of them go and throw bombs at center ice. Like men. And you know who I would rather have in the playoffs? And you know who I would pick in a 7-game series at this point? Over the Maple Leafs? Tampa, Boston, and Florida. And you know what? At this point, probably the Ottawa Senators, because they've got more fucking fight in them as well. Watching this group just cower the way that they are at this point is so pathetic, and it's just what they do season in and season out. It's outrageous to watch this group and just believe that they could be anything different. And you know what? Honestly, I'm the moron who did believe. I did. Like, I did think that they were going to. I did think that they could be different. And then at some point, it just became, you know what? We are who we were before. We have not changed. Nothing will change. And now we're just watching what will likely be the exact same result. Another season with this core where you just head down the exact same path and we go through these cycles of believe, and we don't actually want to do that. And then off the cliff we go. Mike Fammy says, can I call in? Yes, Mike, you can. You know what? Let's just do this. This might be the best way to do it. If you guys want to call in, let me see if this works. Call in the chat there. The link is pinned. I want to know how you guys are feeling. I want to take your calls. Because there's probably people who are watching thinking this bozo is out to lunch. L Hacker there is all upset. Oh, you're criticizing continuously. L Hacker, are you watching the same shit we are? Or are you just checking the standings after? Because the level of play has been pathetic. They are winning games they did not deserve. It's fun for a little while, but then when that's all you're doing, it starts to be like, hey, something shitty is going to come around this corner. Before we get to some of these calls, we got a couple of super chats I want to take here. So let me get to these. Jeff McKay with the super chat there. Jeff, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Jeff says, 3 games in a row, they look so disinterested in playing hockey. They play 10 to 15 minutes. It seems like they feel that enough of that, we made our money. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you kind of I don't know. I get it. I get why people do that. I don't think that they end up with okay, and not like I've made my money. I'm good. It's all okay. It's fine, and we're good here, and we can piss off, and it's whatever. But the effort level has just not been there. Like, where these guys, their level of play and what's been happening is being unacceptable. And I get that there's lulls in a season, but to carry it over, like, this is not just 5 games. This isn't. This is like 10, 15 games of the play trending in this direction. This is a group that has looked uninspired for a little bit. And it's felt at times like they are just kind of checked out in some of these games. I can't really understand or justify why it's happening. Obviously is something that will bite you in the ass. But yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. We do have a caller waiting on the line here, but I want to get to one more super chat because there was another big one that I think is real important before we get to this caller who looks like has hung up there now. But if anybody, again, wants to call in, you call in. Send me a message. I don't know. Also, tell me, what's the easiest way for you guys to call into the show? Like, the link is pinned there at the top. You click on that link. You should be able to call into the show. You can give your thoughts on whatever. Want it to be like radio. No cameras, nothing. You're just call in. You're just on the phone. That's it. You can literally take your phone. You click the link. You can just go audio only. It'll come into here, and we can have a discussion. You can give me your thoughts. Give me your hot takes. I want to hear all of it. So you guys call into the show. But, yeah, I mean, nuts. Another super chat. Okay, another super chat. Yes, Zack Francesa. Yes, that is the idea. That's what I would like to do here on the show. If you're watching, you want to call in. Make sure to click that link. We will take callers. Super chat from Tammy. We're past the halfway point and have yet to see any accountability from the players at all. New year, same team, same shit. The accountability culture that's been preached to us since the offseason is nowhere to be seen. You know what is happening right now? Would you guys in the chat tell me if you disagree? I feel like we are seeing accountability in this group from the wrong people. I continue to feel like we are seeing accountability for Bobby McMahon, Max Pacioretty, Nick Robertson, Connor Timmins, Ryan Reeves. You don't play well, go to the press box. You know who I'm not seeing? Steven Lorentz. You didn't play that great here to start the game. Cut his shifts after the second period, halfway through the second period. He didn't play again after 9:10 left in the second period. Until the third, obviously. But I don't know if it's the coach who needs to be implementing this accountability or if it's the guys in the room who need to be implementing it. But I'm watching another shit game from 88, 34, and 16. And while Matthew's shot looks like it's coming back, and I felt like he was more engaged, and he has been like game after game after game, just the execution has not been there. We saw them dash 6 the other night. We saw another poor performance from them against Vancouver. Cut their minutes. Send a message at the top. I mean, I just feel like we're watching the same group again. And, you know, it was tweeted out by Nick, and I think he was kind of partially joking and partially poking fun, but like, I mean, Braden Point was healthy scratched by the Tampa Bay Lightning and John Cooper here tonight because he missed the team meeting. Braden Point, Stanley Cup champion, one of, if not the best players on the Tampa Bay Lightning, was healthy scratched against the Boston Bruins because he missed the team meeting. Now, I know missing a team meeting is more extreme than, you know, not playing that well. But at this point, the way that these guys have shown up or not shown up, they might as well have missed fucking games at this point. And you've got accountability from the top there. Braden Point, you missed, you don't play. You're healthy scratch, bud. And guess what? The Tampa Bay Lightning tweeted it out. They tweeted out why he missed. They tweeted out why he wasn't playing. The difference between them and here is 2 years ago, the craziest example I've ever seen in my life of a difference. Mitch Marner was called out by Sheldon Keefe. And I believe it was the next morning he had to walk back his comments because someone got their feelings hurt. Comments about play that wasn't good when it wasn't good. I don't. Right now with this group, I just can't understand some of this. Like, it's the big boys, and I want to see accountability being held. I don't know if it's in the locker room. I don't know if it's with each other. I don't know what the best way is for these guys to start to go about it, but something needs to be done, and something needs to be done right now to change it, because the way that these guys have been playing is not good enough. Let's call it what it is. Okay, let's welcome to the show. We've got a caller on the line there. If they can hear, hopefully they can, because I see they've got themselves on mute. Let's get to our first caller of the night here. How are we feeling, and who's on the line?
Hello, Zack. Can you hear me?
Oh, one sec. I think that we've got... there we go. Go again.
Hello? Can you hear me over here?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Zach, it's
Yeah.
GMAC.
G-Mac, what's up?
What the hell are we watching? I know we beat it with a stick at this point, but what the hell are we watching on this power play? What I don't get me wrong. I've never played to the same level that these guys have played. I don't do what Austin Matthews does,
Right.
but every team I've ever been on, we've had plays that you run on the power play. You have looks that you're going for. You have specific players that go in specific places. They move in a specific way. You move the puck to specific guys,
Yep.
and it opens up a specific look that you're going for. What? Tell me if one time if we've ever seen, oh, that's the look that they're going for. That play worked out and it got them the look. There's no purpose.
It feels right now like the way that these guys are playing this power play is really lackadaisical, and like we have enough talent. We have enough skill. We have enough talent on this. We've all scored enough goals and got enough points. We can find a way to score here. It doesn't matter how our systems are. It doesn't matter how we set up because we're good enough. It's like I don't know if you agree with this. I've seen this over and over again with this team. It feels like there's games that they show up to where they're like, we're the Toronto Maple Leafs, so we're going to beat you. You're just the Arizona Coyotes, and you've got nothing on the Toronto Maple Leafs, and because we put on this sweater tonight, we're automatically going to beat you. And that doesn't happen to be the case because a lot of times those teams come in here and they work their fucking bags off and they beat you. Like, it feels like that has at least condensed here now, and we don't have those games for full 60s anymore. But I feel like I'm just watching that of who they were in the power play. And I don't know, maybe to me here right now, it's just kind of, maybe I'm overreacting to it, but it's screaming to me. Maybe that's the root of the problem and has been the root of the problem this whole time. I don't know if I lost you there.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I think you're right. It seems like there's no voice that goes above everybody else that says, hey, this is what we're looking for. There's no structure. There's no look. You should get to this point. By this point, you're halfway through the season. You should have been working on your power plays for what, 42 games now? More than 40 games.
45
they should be able
games.
to they should know exactly what look they're going for. They should know exactly where everybody is by now. And they should be doing it in their sleep. They should be doing it with their eyes closed. They should be making plays that open up a look that gives somebody that'll give somebody an option to have two looks, to either shoot or make a play to whoever's open. But it just doesn't seem like they have any specific purpose. It seems like they just pass around because nobody particularly wants to do anything specific, and it just doesn't seem like they're accomplishing anything.
What do you do at this point? Like, I'm honestly at the point of doing something drastic, and like I'm not talking about trading these guys and getting rid of them, but like I don't know, like fucking park Ryan Reeves in front of the net. I don't care anymore. Put Philippe Myers out there as the defenseman and just go bombs away. You had one good start on the power play here tonight in the first period. I think you hit maybe 3 posts on that power play. It was Nylander off a rebound from Tavares' slot shot. It was Marner with a shot that got tipped by Nyes. Then it was followed up by the second unit where Riley hits the post. And then from that point on, see you later. We're gone. And I'm watching the third period, and I'm watching these guys down 3 goals, and maybe it just all comes back to this. Maybe this is, again, the root of the problem and where these guys have been, and a word that feels like it's come up every single year in the playoffs and when the going gets tough and teams play tougher is, GMAC, the word urgency. A lack of urgency. You're down 3 goals with 11 minutes left in the period. You got a power play, and guess what they're doing? Lollygagging around the fucking zone, trying to pass it around, make sure everyone gets a touch, and go, ho-hum, let's ring around the rosy in the offensive zone. What are we doing? Where is the urgency? Like, change it up. I don't know. I have no answers at this point. It's been thrown out there. Rosie came on the show and effectively said, maybe it's time to change the power play coach and applying a switch with Mark Savard. But I'm ready for something to change, and I don't give a fuck whose feelings get hurt to do so.
Well, Zach, here I'll give you one more point, and then I'll let the people have you again. But I can tell you this fairy tale story about the worst power play in the league last season that all of a sudden is top five this year. And if you know me, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins, who had, I don't know, a star-studded cast of five players on their power play last year that looked completely disengaged.
Yep.
They should have been making plays. They had that high skill level, and it was dead. It was dead in the water. Every time every time they got a power play while I was watching the game, I was pissed because it's a momentum killer. It was for that team last year.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that it's a one size fits all answer, but one of the things that Pittsburgh did, or they had to do this year, is they split up the units. They've got Sid, and they've got Sid, Raquel, and then some hardworking guys like Brian Rust, Michael Bunting on that first power play, because they'll make hockey plays, and then they've got Carlson, Malkin, who usually look on that second unit. I think Grizzlick's been up on the first unit. It's just they've been moving everybody around, and I don't know, maybe that's creating some of that urgency you're talking about, because
Yep.
I think they're over 25% right now.
I'm just at a I'm just at a loss of words with some of the stuff that I'm watching from these guys. I mean, you're loading up a power play with, I think it's like $54 million on it. You've got this, like, I don't even know what to call it, lack of urgency, a lack of purpose when they're out there. You're just seeing lollygagging, and then it's carried over into 5-on-5 play with these guys. It's very, very frustrating, and it's something that's come to bite them in the ass in years past. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. I can't even believe, man, that we're in game 45 of the season, and 45 times we've talked about the power play. Like, it's like I don't think we've taken a night off from. Actually, we have. We took one because they didn't get a power play against the Islanders in one of the games. That's the only time. We got lucky one game. I just can't believe it. GMAC, you got anything else for us before you go here? I appreciate you calling in.
No, that's all for me. Sorry for bringing it up again and raising the blood pressure around the room. But thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure as always. Greatest show in Toronto. Go Tunas.
Thank you. Go Tunas. Thanks, GMAC. Appreciate it. There you go. There's another caller for our first caller of the night here. If anybody else wants to call in, look at the top of the screen. Look at the top of the chat there. There is a call-in link. You guys can click on that and give your thoughts. I want to hear what you guys think. Again, just like that, just like we just saw there, there is no camera. You guys just come on. You give me your thoughts. Give me your questions, answer, whatever it may be. Hot takes. I don't care. Give it to me. Give it all of it. I want to hear all of it. How you guys feel about everything that's going on. What a night for this Leafs team. Yeah, without Matthews, the power play was good. That's actually true. I kind of forgot about that. And El Hacker saying that like that's something they should be proud of. Without the guy who scored 70 goals and makes $13.25 million, they were good. Oh, yeah, nice. That's good. Where were you the rest of the game? We've got over 250 people watching the show here today. Make sure to hit that like button if you haven't already. We have hit 50 likes here on the stream. We will the floor guy should call in. Yeah. We will do smelling salts for every 50 likes here. That happened. It's something we've done for a long time on the channel. So if you're new to the channel, if you are just finding this for the first time, if you're coming back and you've not seen it before, every 50 likes, that's how it works. I've got the bottle of smelling salts here. You hit the like button, 50, 100, 150, 200. Playoffs gets nuts. There's times where we've got 350, 400 likes on the channel, and we got to do the smelling salts, whatever many, what is that, 8 times here on the show. So 7, 8 times. It's happened. It's something that happens. Thanks to everyone who's watching. Appreciate all support from all of you guys, even in these frustrating games. And I'm not trying to be like just yell and scream. That's all it is, and that's all that matters about this group. I'm very happy when things are going well and when the group looks good. But this has been a while coming here out of these guys, where it's like you could see this period coming. Matthews talking about this. Terry Koshin just tweets out, "We're going through adversity right now, and as much as you prefer not to go through it, it's necessary sometimes. These are the kinds of moments where we have to come together even more and stick with each other and work our way out of it." I agree, and that's the right thing to say from him. But I think we can all agree, though, that the scariest part for us as Leafs fans is not facing adversity. Like, I would rather face the adversity, obviously. I would rather not walk into the playoffs thinking and feeling like everything is fine and everything is perfect and la-di-da-di-da, we're all good, it's sunshine and rainbows. We are watching the same process. We are watching the same thing from these guys. It's unacceptable. And it feels the biggest reason I get to this point of being as frustrated right now as I actually am, and it's like and my head is going to explode at this point, is because wouldn't adversity be, going through with the core group of guys, the main group of guys, and losing in the first round every single year? Or getting your shit kicked by Florida in 5 games in the second round the one year you did get through the first round? Wouldn't the adversity be Austin Matthews being out for a month? Or these falling off a cliff moments you've had in years past where you've disappeared? The adversity you should be used to. Like, if anybody should be used to adversity and losing and having to overcome shit play, it should be these guys here right now. These guys, more than anyone, should be aware of what it takes, like what's going on. I get it. I understand. It's the right thing. I know he can't say anything different. That's the best that he can say. So I'm not going to get mad at him for what he said, but the actual concept of it all is like, it goes back to the learning lessons. This is basically just another way to say learning lessons. Like, this is another way to say we're learning lessons. We're learning lessons. Okay. God. And we just saw this coming. This just feels like the group of old. I'm okay with adversity. Adversity happens. It's for the best. You learn from it. You grow. You move on. This is a group that has dealt with adversity and seems like they can't find ways to learn from it. Here is the smelling salts for hitting 50. Let's get to 100 likes here on the show tonight. We'll do it again. Oh. You know what adversity is? Adversity is missing my men's league hockey game on Thursday night because we're going to be doing a show here, having to watch this Leafs team play against the New Jersey Devils. I'm going to be going through adversity. Want to talk about adversity? I'll be going through adversity. L Hacker. Did Denver rebrand here? L Hacker says, panicking will achieve nothing. What do you want them to say? The point is more that adversity is doing smelling salts. The point is more that I can't. Okay, what Matthew said is fine. What Marner said the other day, not so fine. And then there's a question here, and I think it might be in a super chat. So let's just read some of these. We got a bunch. I gotta get through some of these. Okay, super chat here. Super chat from, as that closes, Red Tammy. Super chat from Dan Freeman. Here we go again. Chumping out. Chumps be chumping. They lost coach because he was mean the other day. These core guys take the life out of the room. honestly, Dan, I have a hard time disagreeing because like this game in the past 10 have felt like Leafs of old. And you could watch other teams and they're slumping and stuff, and like their slumps don't feel or look maybe as much like these. Where it's like, okay, sometimes you can play some bad hockey, or sometimes things just don't go your way or whatever, but then you'll start to see other teams fight and chip and claw their way out of it and just kind of try to shorten how long it is, how long that slump is, and how extended the bad hockey goes. This is the same thing that goes on year after year after year for these guys, and they've let this just become a big thing here again for no good reason. I mean, honestly, we live in a bubble here of watching the Maple Leafs, and I know people get mad about looking at stuff and saying, well, look at where they are, and look at, you know, who they're up there with in the standings and who they're ahead of in the standings, yada, yada, yada. And look at Boston. They don't look that good. And look at Florida. They're not playing that well recently. Well, Florida won the cup last year. Tampa's won multiple cups. The Bruins, yeah, okay, different situation for them there maybe. But you know who also beat us in the playoffs last year? And every time we've gone up against them, and even in series where it's felt like, hey, we might actually have a shot, or this is a good one for us, a good chance for us, the Bruins, they beat us. They beat the Leafs. I just don't have the most confidence in this group, and to watch them play the way that they did tonight doesn't leave me with the most confidence going forward. Doesn't make me think that those teams who people say, well, they're not playing that well, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because they've won cups. They won rounds. Colorado, they slumped. Hell, then they snapped out of it. And they won a cup with those guys. And Nathan McKinnon will throw his helmet at people if he gets pissed off. Like, there's fight. These guys are losing in games where it's just like, it looks like a lack of interest. After that first period here tonight, when it got tied 1-1, it felt like the Leafs are kind of on their way to being like, let's just end this one. You know, let's get out of here. We got plans at, I don't even know. I couldn't even think of something witty of where they would go here tonight in Toronto on a Tuesday night. But, you know, you got plans down the street. We got to get out. Let's wrap this game up. We're done with this one. There's just not much life, and it gets you to a frustrating point. You know where they could go, though? You know where they should be going, which I should have thought about quicker. They could be going to Greta Bar YYZ. Yes, that's right. Greta Bar is back. This segment is brought to you by our friends at Greta Bar. Great spot before, during, and after the game. Check out the great street food that they've got over at Greta. You know what? Greta, this is something that actually I picked up. I've picked up... I don't know how that would be even played. The button was off and it just turned on as it went to that. Something that I've actually picked up there over at Greta. I had went there on Friday, I believe it was. Friend's birthday, went to Greta on last Saturday. After the show, went to a friend's birthday over at Greta. The bar managers there, they're fantastic. They take care of you. It's just an unbelievable time, whether it's access to drinks and food. There's 2 levels over at Greta there, over on King Street West, 590 King Street West. Unlimited, I mean, just the most amount of games that you could possibly want to play, all in the same space there. It's just an unbelievable experience every single time I've gone to Greta. I could not be more happy and enjoy myself more than every time that we go to Greta. And it's a spot that I'm super happy is back here sponsoring the show, because it's a spot that myself, Nick, producer Vic have all ended up at numerous times, whether it was together or if it was on separate occasions. We've all found our way over to Greta. So make sure to check out Greta, 590 King Street West. Greta Bar is the place to be. Let the games begin. Lots of fun over at Greta Bar. So make sure to check out Greta if you are in Toronto. Likely would find me there as well. Just an FYI. Potentially this Friday. A Leafs game. Make my way in. That would be a spot where they should go. I would recommend that they go there. But I wouldn't recommend that they leave the game early to make sure they get over to Greta, because that would just be a complete and utter joke. I'm trying to see. We might have another caller here tonight. If we do, oh, there we go. All right. Let me get him set up as I go to this one. But as I get him set up, we've got another super chat. So let's get to that before we do. Super chat here from Maxentius Decimus. Maxentius, thank you for the super chat as always. Appreciate it. Maxentius says, Nyes isn't the reason 20 milli aren't producing. Agreed, Maxentius. That's kind of the same sentiment that I've got for, when they're looking at, let's put Steven Lorentz up there, and let's get Matthew Nyes in and Bobby McMahon in, and they're rotating through all these guys, and just nothing seems to work for them. At some point, you might just have to look at the guys who are on either side of them and say, hey, maybe it's them. Maybe those are the guys who are causing the issues here right now. But to help us break this down, a guy who I know had some frustrations during the game. No, it's not Drake. It's producer Vic. Vic, how's it going?
Good, man. Sort of. How are you?
The chat's got to let me know if I got an echo on you. I have an echo, but it might just be in my headphones. So the chat can let me know if there is an echo.
How bad is it?
It's so... I can deal with it, but if the chat's got it, then I might tell you to figure this out.
Right.
No one said anything yet. Vic, what the hell happened here tonight? And what the hell has gone on over the last 10 games?
Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe today, Zach. Did I miss anything? I was trying to connect for the past 10 minutes. What did I miss? Who got the brunt of this? They can hear the echo. There's an echo now?
Yeah, you're echoing.
Oh no. Okay, let me try and figure this out. Kick me out. I'll come back in.
Okay. All right, there you go. Let's see if we can get Vic to figure that out, because it's not that bad. No. We'll get Vic back in here. We can't have you guys dealing with the echo here on the show. Super chat though, what Maxentius said, and also let's get ourselves over to 100 likes here on the show tonight. Why not? Nyes isn't the reason 20 milli isn't producing, I think is fair. Honestly, this is what I'm looking at with these guys, and people are going to get mad because they're saying, well, it's the best players, and Matthew's been hurt, and I get it, but again, there's a lot that these guys could be doing to make an impact on the game that is just missing right now. It's just not being there for this group, and that's a frustrating concept, because you want to talk about lessons, and did we learn our lessons, and have we figured these things out? Well, we haven't. A game like this makes you feel like, as a fan of the team, that these guys have not learned their lessons and have not figured things out that they need to. How do we get to a point here with these guys watching again? Oh, another uninspired effort. Oh, another night where the conversation is, were they disinterested? Where was this guy? Where was that guy? And it's just nightmare fuel to be having this over and over and over again, when at this point you should have learned your lessons. You should have learned your lessons. I think that the next move, which I'm curious what you guys in the chat here think, and I do want to get Vic in here to get some of his thoughts on tonight's game, but I'm curious what you guys think. Is it time to split up Matthews and Marner? Like, do we need to split up Matthews and Marner? Because this has just... It's like 2 games together, unbelievable. 8 games, garbage. Split them up. 2 games together, unbelievable. Wow, we got to keep these guys together. Split them up. Like, I'm also watching Tavares and Marner and the chemistry that they develop. Watching them play with a guy like Max Pacioretty. Okay, we got something building. Watch Bobby McMahon on that line. Okay, we got something building. Matthews comes back. Boom, back with Matthews. Now at a point where it's felt like a bit of a disaster. Now we're slumping. Now offense isn't being generated. How do we get ourselves here again? How do we get ourselves back in this position? Some of that I don't understand. What I do understand is that you should be joining us in Nashville from March 20th to 23rd for another Nation vacation, the first ever Leafs Nation vacation. The Oilers guys, they've done it. It's been a lot of fun for them. It's been a great success. They're going to Vegas after we go to Nashville. But if you guys are looking for an absolute blast of a trip with wine tasting tour or live podcasts, a Leafs game, transportation, hotels, bars, all that kind of stuff, you can find it over at nationgear.ca. Myself, producer Vic, Rosie, Hutz, all the boys will be heading out to Nashville for the Nation vacation, and it's going to be a blast. I mean, honestly, I have not been to Nashville before. But if there was ever a group of people that I would want to go to Nashville with for the first time ever, it would 100% be the guys from the Leafs Nation, and it would 100% be you guys in the Leafs Nation chat to go and experience something like this, to go and watch Leafs games. And I mean, I'm a big country music fan as well, so for me, this is going to be an unbelievable trip and something that I cannot wait for. But I mean, regardless, make sure to head on over to nationgear.ca so that you don't miss out yourselves. Okay. I guess I should play the ad now as I was trying to do something else. Yeah, here you go. All right, let's try this again. Let's welcome to the show the man, the myth, the legend, producer Vic.
Any echoes?
There's a tiny one, but it's better than last time. What are your thoughts here, Vic? It might be actually my end.
I don't even know where to start. I mean, I was texting you all day about Joseph Wall. So there I guess we could start there. That first goal I was not a fan of. I was super upset with that one. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. It looks like the guy stopped playing. And then I started to think about Craig Berube and how much I love him. And I'm starting to turn on him now. Like, the word accountability has been all over the chat tonight. I've been in there all night, and accountability. And again, zero accountability. All these guys are playing all night. No one's getting benched. No one's getting shifts. I mean, skip a shift. Bench a guy for one shift if you have to. The power play, they keep running out the same 5 guys. No accountability there. I feel like Sheldon Berube's here again.
Oh, no. Sheldon Berube is no bueno, I will say that. I mean, Vic, like, what do you do, though, in a game like this when you're watching these guys? Because this is something that's driving me nuts right now with the group is, like, there is accountability, right? But it's Pacioretty. Like I said this near the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
It's Pacioretty who goes in the press box, and Reeves who doesn't play, or Nick Robertson who doesn't get to go in. And it's like, okay, fine. You're giving those guys, hey, you can't do that. And again, I'm not saying to send Marner, Matthews, Nylander to the press box, but I don't see them missing shifts on the power play. I don't really see them missing too much other than Nylander, really. I don't see these guys missing shifts at 5-on-5. Like, Nylander seems to be the guy who does it, and for the most part, he seems like he's able to handle it, and he's able to kind of deal with these ups and downs within the, like, how much you're liked by the coach. Is it just that the other guys can't? They don't want to? Like, what the fuck do you do here right now? Because the other thing that I always relate it back to, and I've got some people in the chat are like, oh, that's not the same, is like, well, you know what happened in Washington when Barry Trotz got there? Until Alex Ovechkin bought in and started to, like, fully buy into the team system and defense and blocking shots, there were periods of time where he would sit him for, like, a full period, half a period, and just say, sit your ass there, because if you're not going to play the game we want you to play, you're not going to play at all.
Yep.
Are these guys just too soft for that to be the case? Like, what's the problem right now?
I feel like this is a... Now, again, I told you nobody's safe. Now I'm thinking about Shanahan and how this has continued all through what? He's been here 10 years.
Yeah.
We've seen this for 10 years now where you can't put these guys and even separate them or put one on the second power play unit. You can't do it. And it's been going on for 10 fucking years now where they can't get these guys to, I mean, at least work hard, try, do something. And they're just, I guess, before it was Keefe, where I thought the inmates kind of ran the asylum, for lack of a better term. You've heard that before, but where it's like, oh, I make $10 million, the coach makes $1 million, and he can't really tell me what to do. I feel like there was a little bit of that, but I mean, I feel like it's coming down from Shanahan where they have to baby these guys. Maybe he's worried about the contract negotiation coming up at the end of the season. You don't want to piss these guys off. You want to stay in their good books. You don't want to ruffle any feathers.
But these guys. Like, what have they done?
I absolutely, I can't agree with you more. And who was the guy in the chat today? Oh, they're in first place. They're in first place.
Yeah, it's El Hacker. He's still buzzing. He's pissed.
El Hacker. All right, El Hacker. Do you remember the All or Nothing series, Zach?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember that conversation? Keefe brought the leaders of the room in there.
Oh, no. Joe.
Jumbo fucking Joe. Coach, we're in first place. We're in first place. That's that fucking mentality. And where did that get them? And I feel like that was the worst thing that could ever happen, because it felt like me in the principal's office when I was a kid getting in trouble, and me and my buddies were in there, and one of them cracks a joke, and you're all sitting in there like, yeah. You're smirking, and you're like, yeah, we're so fucking cool. That's what that mentality got them. It got them jack fucking shit.
Yeah.
And he brings Joe Thornton on this mentorship trip with him, and I feel like that's the one guy you don't want there. That guy, I love him to death. Hall of Famer, great guy. He's so funny. He's great in the room, blah, blah, blah. That guy never won dick. That guy hasn't won shit in his fucking career, and that's your mentor. And that's where all of this fucking comes from for me. When they're in their little their early 20s, and that's the guy that's leading them. Oh, coach, we're in first place. That's not the mentality you want. Yeah. And I feel like it started there, and it's still in their goddamn games, and they can't get it out, and I fucking hate it.
The other thing, too, here to point out is, like, how many times have you produce the Morning Take Show? You produce Morning Cup of Hockey. You're listening to other shows across the Nation Network all day and going through stuff or seeing things online. How many times, I'm genuinely asking you, like, how frequently do you hear people say, because I just want to throw this out there for people to chew on for a minute, people to say, well, the East is not that strong.
Oh my God, I hear it all the time. I heard it on the sheet yesterday, didn't I?
Right. Yes. Yes. Correct.
Yeah.
So okay. So if the East isn't that strong, what are we doing whipping our dicks out, swinging them around, saying, look at us, we're in first?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, absolutely right. And we're in first is, I think a lot of it is fluky. especially recently, where again, the guy I was hardest on when I first jumped on, Joseph Wall, he kind of held the fort while Stolarz was out, but they played like shit in both games against the Flyers.
Mm-hmm.
They played like shit against Carolina. They played like shit against Vancouver. I think there's one game, and that was the Matthews return against Boston that I can remember in the last, I don't know, month or so, where they actually put forth a good effort. And it's been a problem for a while, I feel, Zach, where they kind of play up to their opponents and then they play down to their opponents as well. And it's been a bit of a pattern, which we haven't really seen this year. And now we're kind of starting to see it. And now they're not even playing up to their opponents. Carolina walks in here and just, do you think they could beat Carolina in a 7-game series?
No.
Like,
no.
What? And I heard you say it earlier. Can they beat Ottawa in a fucking 7-game series?
Right. And talent wise and, roster construction, depth, goaltending. Yeah, you probably are outmatching Ottawa, but you know who's going to want it more than you, or at least the way they're playing right now. The way Ottawa plays 82 games a year, they've kind of just been plagued by not having enough skill, depth, injuries, whatever it may be. The fire that they play with, for lack of a better word, like the intensity, how bad they want it every single night. Thank you. That's the right word. Desperation is 10 times what they have here in Toronto. And honestly, the Leafs enter a playoff series with Ottawa tomorrow. I'm taking Ottawa.
Yeah, no desperation ever. We never see it. And it feels like they bring in these guys that are supposed to be the leaders, and they bring in the Ryan O'Reillys, they bring in the Chris Tanevs, they bring in so on and so on and so on. Nick Foligno, they brought in Wayne Simmons. They bring in all of these guys with the intangibles, the leaders, the winners. These guys have won, and it feels like it rubs off the other way, where the core of this team sucks the life out of those guys, and they become complacent, and they lose their desperation. It's insane to me.
Well, look at this coming up, right? New Jersey on Thursday. Sheldon Keefe.
Yep.
You know who's going to come in here? You know who's playing really well right now and is going to come in here fired up? Sheldon Keefe and the New Jersey Devils.
Yep.
Are the Leafs going to get up for that game? Honestly, I would have said yes 25 games ago, 20 games ago. Right now, my honest answer is no, because it feels like the Leafs of old. And Jekyll and Hyde in and out, and it doesn't feel like I can rely on them to show up from an intensity level aspect for a full 60 minutes. Like, your only hope is really that Sheldon Keefe goes I'm not trying to just destroy Sheldon Keefe with me saying this. I'm more referring to his time in Toronto. But your only hope is that he goes Toronto Sheldon Keefe in Toronto, and his team doesn't show up, and all of a sudden you can duke it out that way. That's where you're at right now with this group.
I think, if I remember correctly, the Leafs won the previous meeting against the Devils with Matthews in overtime, correct? Do you remember that game?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that was okay. While you're doing that, if I'm remembering correctly, I'll just play off as if I am, because that's how I remember it. And the Devils kicked the crap out of the Leafs in that night, and that was the Stolarz game. Stolarz stole that one, and the next game he got hurt. Yep. I don't know how many fucking saves that guy made that night, but he was the best player on the ice by a billion miles, and they didn't show up. The Leafs didn't show up. They squeaked one out in overtime. I think, that might have been the Pontus shorthanded goal as well, right at the end of the Devils power play there. But so they didn't show up for that. Berube played the Blues twice. Berube wants those games. The Blues kicked the crap out of the Leafs. Those are 3 games I can think of. The old coach, new coach. You want that game for your coach, and the Leafs shit their pants.
Yep.
So, again, I have no reason to believe that they'll show up for this one against the Devils.
We got some big super chats here, Vic, so let's get to these. You could help me answer, but let's start with this. Okay, Dan Freeman. Dan, thank you for the super chat. A massive super chat. $50 here, Vic.
Wow.
$50
for the kids.
Super chat. He says, Zach, you plugged a bar in the middle of my super chat. Are you going to match this super chat or is Greta bar? I live in Saskatchewan. I can't go there. I think I answered it, but we can circle back to it here, Vic. And again, Dan, thank you for the super chat there. That is for the kids. He said they lost the coach because he was mean the other day. These core guys take the life out of the room.
Was he mean? What did he say that was mean? I don't remember him being mean to these guys yet.
I can't even think about anything.
I can't. He's babying them too, and that's part of this. This is why nobody's safe today. This is why nobody's safe. He's babying them too. He's babying them too. We have yet to see anybody held accountable other than Max Pacioretty, who I think they could have used tonight, because guys like that, veterans like that, play, especially a guy like that, throw a body, throw a hit, do something to change the momentum.
Yep.
Again, they got Revo in there to do that. I have no idea why. Benn takes a shot at Marner at center ice. I thought maybe we'd see Reeves get a response. We saw him take a shot at Matthews late on the power play there. Again, I thought Reeves would come over the boards, do something. There's no willing combatants. You make him a willing combatant. You go punch that guy in the mouth. You cannot touch my superstars. And he went around and he did Jamie Benn things, and nobody pushed back. Like, there's no willing combatants. You grab them, you throw them on the ice. What you think we're worried about the 2-minute power play for roughing you're going to take? That's the penalties that you kill every single time. When you're standing up for a teammate, your teammates stand up for you. They block the extra shot on the PK, and you kill those every single time. Go take that guy out. I don't care. That is your job. And he's sitting there before the game crying that he hasn't fought yet. Like, come on.
I know. I was expecting it to go here tonight. I mean, obviously, you and I were talking about it before. I was like, I saw the quotes that come up. I'm looking at a game against the Stars. They're going to play physical. They're going to come in here and be a tough team. They play heavy, or you're going to have a chance. Like what you said, there's no willing combatants. Jamie Benn will go. And if he won't, you can make him go. You can get in there and just say, fuck it, we're going to go. It happens. Look at Nikita Zadorov here tonight. I don't know if you caught what he did in the Bruins Lightning game. Nikita Zadorov, I don't know what the hell the guy's name is. Chaffee? I think I was saying it wrong.
Chafee. He's Johnny's boy.
Okay, so he's in front of the net there, kind of like getting in this scrum. Nikita Zadorov, I kid you not, the linesman is in between them. Zadorov drops his glove and is just throwing bombs at this guy who's standing there just being held by the linesman and Zadorov eating punches. Do I think that's the right thing to do? No, I don't. But you know what's going on? That Bruins team thumped the Lightning here tonight. Did it hurt them? No, it didn't. You know what it does? It makes guys on the ice feel tougher. Trent Frederick then goes out there and beats the fucking wheels off of Lilleberg, because Lilleberg cross-checked Kastelik last week, who, guess what? Kastelik also fought Lilleberg after he got cross-checked. Like, I'm watching these teams, and it's like Sorelli gets in this little scrum here tonight. Whoever it was, I actually don't know who the player was. I couldn't see that. I was watching Leafs at the same time, but he's getting grabbed and shaken, and Sorelli just drops a glove and decides, I'm going at it. Like, these are guys who are playing on Team Canada. They've won Stanley Cups. They're in the good, like, these amazing graces with their teams, with their coaching staffs, and like, these guys are willing to go at any given moment, are willing to step up, are willing to join the fight, give energy to their team. And I watched this team here tonight, and I said it earlier already, and I'm kind of circling back, but Vic, it was the moment that made me, like, I've had frustrating moments with this group this year, and I'm sure that you have as well. But there's been times where it's just like, was it that bad? Maybe I'm overreacting. The one tonight where, like, it kind of felt like it took a lot emotionally and mentally out of me was watching Matt Dumba smoke Max Domi. And it's a clean hit. He everything he did was within his right. I have no issue at all with what Matt Dumba did. But in today's day and age in the NHL, after any big hit, there seems to be a scrum, a response, anything. And you know who the first player was within any type of radius of Matt Dumba? It was Mitch Marner. And he looks at Max Domi laying on the ice after getting fucking blown up. He looks at Matt Dumba. He looks back at Max Domi, looks at the bench, and he skates straight to the bench and goes for a change. I swear to God, he could have breathed on Matt Dumba. He was that close to him. And he looked at him and he said, I'm not going to do it. And in that moment, it was like, it was just like this energy inside of me just got sucked away because I watched that and I went, you're no different. You are no different, and you are the leader of this team. You are a leader of this team. Everyone is looking at you, and you just said, fuck it. And that's who you've always been, and that's who you will always be, and that's what this team will always be if you keep this shit up.
That guy that got hit was his line mate in London. They've been buddies for fucking years. That's not some random. That's your buddy that you played junior hockey with on the same fucking line. Now, imagine if the roles were reversed there. Marner gets hit and Domi doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
What's the conversation like tomorrow? Or
his head's on a stake.
What is the conversation?
Yeah.
Right? Now, why would Domi do that for Marner when he knows, he saw it clear as day, that he would not do the same for him? Tell me why he would step up and get into that. Why?
Yeah. Well, Max Domi will, but it's like, why should he?
Why should he?
Right.
Why should he?
Right.
You don't have his back, and you showed him you don't have his back right in front of him.
Yeah.
He had to get up off the ice, dust himself off, and go try to fight his own battle for him.
Yeah.
It sucks that you don't have a teammate to have your back in that situation. And honestly, I've said it a million times. I know he's one guy, but I miss Jake McCabe more than anything in the world. That guy, I said it in the chat, jokingly, obviously, but I said he should get Hart Trophy votes because he means so goddamn much to this team, and it's unbelievable. Clearly. I say it every time he gets hurt. You saw it. The two worst spells for this Leafs team have been once when he took the puck in the head and he missed 5 games, and then now.
Yep.
The two worst spells for this team are when he's been out of the lineup. I miss him so goddamn much because that guy is fucking nails, and they miss that. They miss that.
I agree. And also, like, just to kind of even circle back on it, and I'm sure you agree with this, I'm not expecting Marner to fight the guy.
No.
No. You can grab him, though. You can get in his face or grab him by the shoulder and say, what the fuck are you doing? Don't do that, or just anything. A sign of life.
How about Zach? Why not? How about fucking fight him? How about
Fair enough.
How about it? One time. We've seen a million guys. We've seen Sidney Crosby fight. We've seen fucking Alex Semin fight when he was doing this.
We saw Huts fight.
We saw Huts fight. Everybody fights. Fight one time and just show that you're not going to be pushed around. And maybe it'll make the other guys think twice one time.
Yeah.
If you stand up for yourself. Fight.
Well,
skirmish,
and like,
go down to the ice, whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, I said it before, and it's like I looked at the Oilers and Kings game, and this is where like people in the chat can get mad all they want, being like, "Well, you're talking about these other teams." That's the point. Like, I'm talking about other teams that I think and have seen a proven track record of success. Connor McDavid, who went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year, by the way, if anyone was wondering or checking any notes on that one, he gets taken down. Kasperi Kapanen comes to his aid, and immediately it's McDavid back in there, where people say, okay, well, he hasn't fought. He hasn't fought, but watch some of the shit that he does when scrums go on. He will go right in there and grab guys. He will turn around and swing at you with a stick if he's got to. And obviously some of that shit is like, okay, dude, what the fuck are you doing? But also some of it is like, yes, you've got emotion. These guys here, back turned. See you later. I'm going to the bench. And that drives me nuts right now, especially at this point where it's like, show something. Show me something.
You bring in an old school coach, you think they'd adapt to some of his old school mentalities. Like, go watch some of his highlights. Go watch Berube highlights.
Yeah.
If you need to get motivated. Like, look how this guy played, and it's not rubbing off on the big boys. We saw it somewhat earlier on in the season, but again, it's just like completely faded. And I hate it because we were like, this is different. This is different. This is different. And then we started to whisper it because they started to go down. We're like, no, but this team is still different. They're finding ways to win these games that they're playing poorly. And last year they would have lost this game. Now they're finding ways to win. And again, here we are. They can't score. They're not defending each other. They're not playing tough. And here we are again. It feels like they're playing playoff hockey.
Let's get to a couple of super chats. Also, by the way, quickly, 6 1/3 there says, Zack and Vic are the biggest Marner haters. I mean, I've been in support of the guy for most of this season. I've been actually very much like applauding everything he's done. It's just shit like that where you watch and you're like, that's where this team is missing ingredients. Like, you know who will fight or at least go in there and go nuts? Nikita Kucherov, who's a smaller skilled player, but he'll do it as well.
It's not Marner. It's not Marner hate. He just happens. He always just happens to be wrong place, wrong time. Yeah, he's the wrong place, wrong time. Yeah. Don't get me started. I'm the biggest Willie fan I ever. He has been dreadful. Do you want me to hate on him too?
Yeah, go for it.
6 1/3. Do you want me to hate on him too? I can hate on anybody you want tonight. Name it. $7.5 million number 1 D man. Where the fuck were you tonight? What did he do? Philip Myers was the best defenseman on the ice tonight. Philip Myers. They gave him a 2-year deal at like $800K last week. How is this guy showing up and nobody else is? Anybody could catch it tonight. It's not Marner hate. It is full-blown Leaf hate. I'm in panic mode right now.
I'm in panic mode right now. I'm going to clip that. Here's what we got. We got a couple of super chats to get out of here. We've been on here for a long time, hour and a half tonight. Unknown says Zach's giving Marner love. Thank you, Unknown. You're keeping receipts, you know. Let's get to some super chats. Okay, let's do these two here. Let's start with the first one. Cameron Huffman. It's kind of along the lines of what we're saying, but we appreciate the super chat nonetheless. Cameron Huffman says, this team has no heart right now. No fight. No will to come back. Not happy with it. It sucks. I'm just disappointed right now. Cameron, I couldn't agree more. There is literally nothing I could say more than that.
Same, Cameron. Same.
I mean, I can't really add more to that. I do appreciate the super chat, though, Cameron, and thank you for sending that. We got another super chat. Dan Freeman. Come on, producer Vic, throw a pink one.
What does that mean?
Dude, I don't know. I was hoping you knew.
What? This is bad if we're both getting into giggles. Somebody's got to say something.
I thought that I was going to say that and you were going to be like, oh, yeah, like this is something that I said on something or was said somewhere else. No?
I have no clue what throwing a pink one is.
Okay. I don't know if he's talking about a $50 bill.
Maybe I'll Google it. I don't know. Do you want to?
I don't even know if I want to find out.
Yeah,
I just said it out loud. So, we got another super chat, though, from Dan. Thank you, Dan. He said, chumps, they are chumps. The real guys aren't getting respect because everyone knows who makes the money. If you make $10 million, you better be carrying the load. I'll just say quickly on this point here as well is like, this is where some of it pisses me off with people being like, oh, why doesn't the bottom 6 score? You know, why can't you get a fourth line goals? And we go into the playoffs and it's like, well, the bottom 6 didn't score. And it's like, well, how many fucking goals did the top 6 score?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not like they could do everything. I get it. You need contributions from the bottom 6. But, like, when you walk away from a playoff series and Calle Yarncroke and Mitch Marner had the same amount of goals, don't give me shit about why the bottom 6 couldn't score. You know, you need more production from the top guys. And that's kind of where I look at with some of these other aspects of it, too. It's not just the scoring. It's not just the goals. And it's not just the playoffs. It carries over in other areas for me, at least personally here, Vic, where it's like, you've got guys in the bottom 6 who will fight or throw hits or play physical styles of hockey. And we can walk away from a game being like, well, we need a team that's more physical. Well, you know what? The bottom 6 is actually pretty physical, but they play significantly less minutes, which I'm kind of just throwing excuses out there at you. But like the point is more so along the lines of like, they're doing it. You just need more from the top six as well. You need them in the scrums. You need them finishing hits and being physical. And in a game like tonight, when it's a sleepy game, maybe it's I don't even know, because maybe Matthews is actually more hurt than we're realizing, and maybe he shouldn't be in some of these situations, so maybe he's the wrong guy to throw in. But maybe it's JT who goes into a scrum and goes and roughs somebody up. I know he's not ever been that guy, but that also goes to the point of, like, you know what happens when a coach who yells all the time yells all the time? Players tune it out. You know what happens when a coach is stern and gets on guys and then fucking snaps one time? Everyone goes, whoa. If John Tavares goes out there and just, like, wires cross and grabs somebody, he doesn't have to beat the shit out of them, but just grabs them and says, you're not fucking doing that, throw a guy around a little bit. Maybe everyone on the bench turns around and goes, holy shit, was that Johnny? Was that Tavares? And then they get some life and inspiration out of them. And it feels like this group has been lacking that, and that's kind of what I look at in some of these other guys and other teams and other leaders around the league and say, those guys have it. Those leaders have it. And I always now revert back to what Trouba had said in the documentary, the Amazon series that came out in the summer, was he was talking about Quinn Hughes. And he is saying, yeah, I've no, like, I'm not going to, like, diss the guy or anything, but he effectively said, you know, sometimes being a captain is doing things that, you know, you need to do for the team. And what is he going to do in some of those situations? And he's effectively talking about sticking up for guys, fighting, going after guys, throwing the big hit. Can he do that? Will he do that? And I've always reverted that, and this season, at least, in each of these moments, looked back at the leadership group of this team, started to ask myself, would they do that?
Yeah.
I need more from them right now.
Well, they push back when they're pushed, and
exactly.
It doesn't look like any of them will. And like I said, it feels like the coach is there, and instead of taking the identity of the coach, they've taken on the identity of the big four-headed monster. And
don't talk about their forehead like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, no pun intended. Yeah, he does need some. But anyways. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Does a game like today make you worried about pushing the chips all
in? Yeah, but like, what do you do? What do you pass on the season? Like,
no. So that's my question. Is a trade offer comes to your table, and I don't know, name it, player X, and they're asking for Fraser Minton / Easton Callan.
Yeah.
Do you think this team right now, I know we're at the lowest point, and if I asked you this last week, your answer might have been different. But right now, after watching these past 3 games, do you go all in?
I think you still have to. I don't know. Like, it's a great question, Vic, and it's hard, but it's like, it's year 9. You entered the season. Like, if you didn't enter the season with the intention of going and trying to win, you're not signing Stolars like that and getting Tanev and OEL and, like, bringing some of those pieces in. You're probably looking at younger guys or whatever. So it's like, I get exactly what you're saying. Like, I do understand, and it is tough. Like, there's a guy who comes to the chat constantly. I just gonna name him, Jeffrey Curry. He comes to the chat and he complains all the time. He calls me a moron and questions why people still watch, because, like, 2 years ago I was like, yeah, let's go trade for Ryan O'Reilly, and then they lost, and he keeps coming back being like, look at this idiot, he said he should have traded, we lost picks because we went after Ryan O'Reilly. And it's like, the thing is that, like, what do? You just pass up on these seasons? You're in the top of the Atlantic. Like, otherwise you're just, like, going through and just being like, oh, well, the final year of Mitch's contract, the final year of JT's contract. Like, no, we're just not going to do it because, like, I'm not really sure about the construction. That's where I get to the point of, I think you just have to. I think you have to do it.
The thing that worries me the most is you said the last year of Mitch's contract, the last year of John Tavares' contract.
Yeah.
The last year of Brendan Shanahan's contract.
Yeah.
Also. And I feel like that guy at the top has maybe different priorities than Brad Treliving does right now. Because one guy has to save his job, and the other guy is looking to build this team for the future. So if you have that kind of discrepancy within your own management, within your own leadership group up top, like we're talking up top now,
Yeah.
are they going to be able to be on the same page and push this team in the same direction when they clearly have their priorities a little bit different?
This is not the conversation I want to have at game
Yeah,
45.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but this is what I'm thinking about. And
I
it's
know, I
like,
get
that's a loss like this, and losses like these make me wonder again. It's like, it's the tough decisions. Does this team have what it takes? A few teams have done it already, where look at the New York Rangers, where they trade their captain, for example. They saw last year that they don't have it. They kind of blew it up. And now look where they are. They're bottoming out. It's realizing it a little early rather than a little late. It's better. But I don't know if, like, how much damage can you do when you trade away the first draft pick of the tree living era was Easton Cowan. Is he really going to trade that guy to go for a run with these guys? That's what I'm wondering. What does the chat think?
Man. Okay, you know what? The other thing I would throw at you is, like, you make the trades. The thing that you have, barring a signing or extension midseason, which I don't get the impression that they're going to do, and I don't think you do either. This is the last thing we'll do big picture because we got an hour 37 in. We got to do some segments to get out and a couple more super chats. The other thing would, Vic, here would just be like, if you go and you try, and I think the reason that you're also proposing this is not because it's a slump like this and we're like, oh, a slump like this. It's a slump like looking like the team of old. That's where the concern comes from, right? And that's the team that gets knocked out in the first round every year. So if you go all in, you push the chips in, which could prove to be completely moronic, but if you go all in and you say, you know what, we're going to go and trade like we have in years past, and we've pushed in and we've gone for the big dog at the deadline, and you fail, you flame out the exact same way. You lose in the first round. It shows, okay, power play didn't get going. You didn't score goals. The big guys, they didn't get it done. Maybe it's the last straw and the final justification to break up the core. Because otherwise, like, Vic, let's say you go through the end of the season, you don't push your chips in, you get through this season, you lose in the first round, you say, well, we were close. We lost in game 7. Let's try again and run it back here. You signed JT, you signed Marner, keep Nylander, Matthews, Riley. Let's go again. Let's have another run at it this year because we didn't go all in at the deadline, and maybe we could have won if we got some more people at the deadline.
That's why I wanted to finish first, so we could face a bad team and they don't have that excuse. But again,
aren't we like lined up to play Boston the first round right now? Or
yeah.
Yeah.
And see, look at that. Those scrums that they got into with Tampa today is a message sent. Like, if we see you down the road, we're bigger, we're stronger.
Yeah. I shit myself watching it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All right, let's
wrap up. Let's get out of here with a couple of things.
Right.
Do you want to stay for it or do you want to leave? What do you got to do?
It doesn't matter. I'm here.
Okay.
Whatever.
Let's go rapid fire on these and we'll get out. So, first of all, let's start with the play of the game. Okay, play of the game. By the way, we've been on the show for an hour and 40 here, and we still have over 200 people watching. We pretty much hit 200 within like the first 10 minutes of the show.
How many likes?
90.
Come on.
90.
Come
10
on.
more and we'll do the smelling salts.
You're better than this, guys.
Vic, do you have a play of the game tonight?
Matthews, 5 minutes in the game. Actually, I kind of liked him throwing the body on Hintz too there early on. Yeah. I thought he was engaged early and then got the goal and then, downhill from there. So I'll just go with the Matthews goal. It was the only positive thing I can honestly remember.
I unfortunately am going to be copying the same one as you here. I usually try to at least go with a different one. I really can't. The chat has some funny ones here. Maxentius, me turning off the TV in the third period was the play of the game. Robert says play of the games are tough when we lose. Warm Casting says play of the game was wall stinkers. Shinobi says player of the game, ... none. You know that against I think it was Carolina. I think that was the game. There's been a couple of stinkers in here. It's getting a little stuck together. I'm pretty sure I gave no play the game. It was the first
No
time
play.
I've ever given no play the game.
Might have been the
ever.
Vancouver game
It
then,
might have been Vancouver, yeah.
because at least they buried a couple early against Carolina as well. But
Yeah.
that Vancouver game was brutal.
I think it was Vancouver then. Because, dude,
Yeah.
I came on. I've never in the history of me doing this. Like, I've only been with the Nation Network and Leafs Nation since, like, March of last year. I've been doing the show myself for 4 seasons
Yeah.
now. And I think I introduced it in the first year. I've never not given one. And
Yeah,
I was
because
like,
they've never been shut out,
I was
Zach.
like, what do I do?
They never used to get shut out. It's 3 this year. Come on.
Yeah. So that's play of the game.
Yeah.
We got another super chat here. So let's get to that. We got 2 super chats actually. And by the way, we did set a record here tonight. I never really say the amounts that are donated or anything like that, but Dan Freeman has just been an absolute legend here tonight. Throughout the $50 super chat, has thrown out multiple $5 and $2 super chats, and just threw out a couple more here. We hit $160 donated on the show here tonight, which is absolutely incredible. Like, I mean, I know we say this over and over, but proceeds going to sick kids. That's awesome. We really, really appreciate that. And Dan, with 2 very polar opposite super chats, I don't know whether to start with let's just go with the first 20 cent, then I'll go to the other one. So the first one is, they're just a bunch of chumps. Marner got decked. Game over. Matthews hit a guy and broke his back again. Okay. It's the funny one. Probably should have read that one last. Dan also says, listen, Philly, I love your show, and I'm donating to sick kids. I lost my child December 8th. My birthday, it means more to me. Dan, I'm really sorry to hear that.
Sorry, Dan.
We were obviously the entire Leafs Nation community. The Leafs Nation After Dark community is all here for you, and hopefully, I mean, shows like this probably don't really help that much, but at least hopefully there's some type of relief or distraction coming to the After Dark show, whether it's those of you surrounding you in the chat, or if it's myself spewing nonsense into a mic, or Rosie screaming about Marner, or Nick talking about his eyebrows, whatever it is. I hope that you're able to find some distraction here in this. So heart goes out to you, prayers are with you, obviously, but thank you for the super chats, and yeah, they go to a great cause.
Dan, a lot of Dans I know are known as Dan the Man, but Dan, you are the man. You are the king of all of the Dan the Mans. Thank you, Dan.
You are King Dan the Man.
King Dan the Man.
Yes. Thank you, Dan. And sorry to hear that as well. Let's get to a couple of other things. Let's do this one quick. This one is a stinger for me here tonight. And that would be the Best Bet segment presented by Bet365, proud partner in the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation After Dark. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N, all caps. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. So, Vic, funny story quickly on this. I didn't get to catch your the morning take show in real time. The only reason I got in there in real time is because Alberga texted me and said, tune in right now or look at the show and look at my background. And then if people haven't already, go, and I implore you to go check it. But it's a picture of me behind his shoulder. So I just started laughing right away. And then I made the comments in the chat. But then I had to leave. Because I was doing some other stuff, working on some other things throughout the day. And then I go back, finally have a chance. I watched the entire show start to finish. I texted you guys before the show ended. You can confirm this. I texted you before the show ended, and I said, all caps, Steven Lorentz anytime goal was like a banger or something.
Plus 850. Yeah, I remember the text because I was laughing my ass off when you sent it.
I had not watched the end of the show yet. So then I go back and I watch it, and then I started laughing because I heard the boys being like, Zach's betting Lorentz anytime goal.
Yeah.
I did. Not only did I bet it, I gave it out. as my best bet. So it lost here. But I mean, the logic
I
was
thought
there.
of you at the end of the game because he was on
I was
really
watching.
late. Yeah. I was like, imagine he gets it here. He didn't get it with Austin and Mitch. He bangs one in with David Kemp. But yeah, I was rooting for it. But yeah.
I would have died laughing. But no, couldn't get it there. So that was our best bet for tonight, but that one lost. We do have a couple more super chats. So we got this one to $210 donated here tonight, Vic. $210 donated. Let's get to the couple super chats before we get to our grade of the game and get out of here. Okay, super chats. Two of them. Cameron Huffman and Robert Smith. Cameron, first, a $40 super chat here. Thank you, Cameron. He says, may as well hit 200. You guys are beauties nonetheless. Love hanging out with Leafs fans, especially sharing excitement, or in this case, frustration tonight. Gonna help out no matter what. Cameron, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thanks for getting this thing over 100 here as well, and I'm glad that whether it's win or lose or excitement or frustration, you find a way to enjoy the post-game shows. And Vic, I appreciate you jumping on here with me tonight. I will be honest, like this is one of those ones where I like doing the show on my own, obviously. I could talk forever about some of this stuff, especially in certain nights, but like this was one of those games I was like, this is going to be insane because I've done the same show now like 4 games in a row. And I'm like, it's dishonest if I don't come on here and say these things, but it's also like thinking about the chat and being like, these people are going to be pissed because I'm just going to say the same shit. They're going to be like, we watched this already. So that's why I was happy that we got a call in. I had like 3 people message me. We got another super chat there, by the way, from Biux. Thoughts with you, Dan. Thank you, Biux. I had like 3 people message me and be like, yeah, I want to call in. I sent them the link and then they just never called in. I was like, okay. And then
I was wondering if people were like afraid to be seen or something. Because I wanted to hear from Leafs Nation because I was sitting in the chat and a couple people asked me if I'm gonna hop on. I was like, no, today's your day, guys. And then I was like getting more and more frustrated as the show kept going. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, let me get some of my takes in here.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. So thank you for coming on. But yeah, also like 2 people in the chat, I want to make it clear that I grew up on like old sports talk radio, like where because I was playing minor hockey. So a lot of times I would miss Leafs games. And the way I knew what happened was listening to the post game show on the radio and them taking callers. And like, I say this lovingly, but it was just like lunatics, like calling into the show. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want.
Buddy. That's where I came from. That's what I used to do. I worked at Sportsnet before this. That was my job. I used to field those calls. That was
right. That's what I wanted. Like, that's all I wanted. And that's what I started doing on the show. So that's what I want people to call in. I don't care how insane you think your take's going to be or whatever. Call in. Tell me what it is. Tammy says I'm too shy to call in. Tammy, come on. You don't even have to say who it is. You guys can just call in and let me give your thoughts. But we got another super chat there as well. Mike Fammy, as bad as we think it, we have it here in Leafs Nation. Look at the Preds. They went all in on Shea, Marchessault, and Stamkos.
They beat Vegas tonight, didn't they?
Yeah, I thought so.
Oh my gosh.
Oh God. Yeah, they did 5-3. All right. Let's get to the last thing here. Thank you again for the super chats to everyone. Robert Smith also super chats going over the moon tonight. I cannot sit it out. So he sent another $5 one there. $220 of super chats tonight. Let's go and finish out with this. And you guys send yours in the chat. We'll do this quickly, Vic, and we'll get out of here. But grade of the game.
Easy. Big F. Big. I don't know how you could give it anything else.
Back-to-back Fs, dude. And this is F for me. I had a F. I had a D+, I think, against Carolina. And then I had an F against Vancouver, and I have an F tonight.
Yeah.
Part of it is also the setup, though, right, Vic? Like, you had an F against Vancouver. You can't have another F, and you did.
Exactly.
That's an F on its own.
Exactly. You're hoping for a bounce back because we've seen it a lot this year. where they stop these. I think this is the first 3-game losing streak of the season. I think if at least in regulation.
First 3 game of the season.
Yeah, at least in regulation. And look, we're talking like the sky is falling and the sun won't come up tomorrow, and it will. But I mean, it's the way they're losing. I say it all the time in our little group chats. It's okay to lose. It's okay to allow it's okay. It happens. Every team loses. You can't win them all. Everybody knows that. But it's how you play and it's how you go about it. And 3 horseshit efforts in a row is not acceptable. Hopefully we see some accountability. Let's see what practice looks like tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, you're shaking your head as you say it. I can only laugh. I can't imagine we're going to see anything different. But here's what the chat is at, by the way. Debo said D-. Brett says D. And then Debo changed it to an F. And then I've got F, E-, F, F, double F, E, F, F, double F. Brett Longfield goes F with E and 20 Fs. Yeah, so everyone is pretty much at F's here. And Billy T, emojis. Be positive. Yeah.
Be positive?
No.
What's that? Is that B+? That is great, or is he telling us to be positive, or is he giving us his blood type? What's B positive?
I don't know. Also, I'm trying to figure out what this is about. Yeah, the context makes this an F. Diz says the Leafs was a 2-1, tight 2-1 game where they battled hard. When has Zack ever said that? Oh, he's talking to someone else. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
Okay, never mind. He's battling for me on my behalf.
I still want to know what throwing in the pink means, so I'm going to Google that after the show.
He said it. Producer Vic throwing 50 pink 1 into the sick kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Marquise Maintenance, love Vic's passion. He needs to be here more. Vic will be here more. We had to break the ice of Vic showing up on camera, and he's here.
I will be here more.
And will be here more. Mike Family, I decided not to call in Zack because I would have embarrassed myself because I was going to go completely off. No.
Good. That's what we want.
I just did it for like 30 minutes on my own, going completely off.
That's what the Leafs Nation is. Like, yes. This is what we're passionate. This is what it is. There's no going off the rails because we all do it at home privately. So let's all do it together.
Yeah. All right. We got 100 likes here on the stream. Thank you to everyone who liked. Let's do this. We got $220 in super chats, 100 likes. Thank you. Let's do the smelling salts here. That one was.
You have some of those for me now, right?
Yeah, I'm getting you. I got you some.
Awesome.
You don't have them there, but I got a bunch of new ones coming in, so we'll up the intensity. But that's it for me here. That's it for Vic tonight. I appreciate everyone who tuned in and watched the show. That'll do it for us. We will be back. I will be back on Thursday following the game against the New Jersey Devils. This being game number 45 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, dropping this one 4-1 to the Dallas Stars. I'll see everyone on Thursday. Until then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.